So is late October too early to be talking about a mock draft, first round mock draft? Well, when your team is 1-5 at week 8, shut up. Shut your face. So let's dive on in. Vikings, if the season ended right now, the Vikings will be picking 6. Let's talk about the difficulties in that spot. It's less than ideal the way that this draft class could shake out. But let's start at the top. So you got the Jets at 1, Joe Douglas, White Suge Knight. How are you going to screw up Trevor Lawrence? Like, how are you really going to screw up the biggest can't miss prospect since Andrew Luck, since Peyton Manning, since John Elway, all 3 involved with the Colts, by the way. Kind of funny. But, yeah. He goes to the Jets. Sam Darnold wasn't your pick. That was a Mike McCagnon guy. Probably trade Darnold for second-round pick. Well, probably not even that. Probably a third or fourth-round pick. Move on to life. Trevor Lawrence, come on down. You just have to save a whole franchise and decades of despair. But no pressure. Also, speaking of despair, so the Giants at 2. It's just a great time to be a football fan in the Manhattan/New Jersey area. So, Dave Gettleman. He doesn't trade down. I mean, this would be a good spot for a team who wants to come up for Justin Fields and or Trey Lance. It would be a great spot, but Gettleman just does not trade down, and I think he's fully in on Daniel Jones because he was his guy, and Jones has shown some flashes, so I think that they stick it out with him. I don't think that they go quarterback in this spot, but they get Daniel Jones some help. Jamar Chase, the wide receiver at LSU, woo! Coming on down, and a big-time outside-the-numbers playmaker for Jones. We'll see how that works out. Next up. All right, so the Jaguars up at 3. I think Minshew Mania is probably over, so they're not going to F around. Now, this is the spot in 2014 where they took Blake Bortles, but numerology podcast coming soon. So the Jaguars, they do go quarterback, taking Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State, who is just having a Heisman adjacent type campaign yet again. And also Florida-Georgia line connection, Eastern Florida, Duval, Jacksonville, very close to Georgia, where Fields played high school ball as well as started his college career. So there you go. Next up, number 4. So it's unfortunate. Like Justin Fields being in Atlanta, his home state, and near his hometown, that would be awesome. But the Falcons still going to be in the quarterback market. And even though, as I die, is that you, Rona? And even though they missed out on Lawrence and Fields, going to go with the next best thing on the board, quarterback, Trey Lance, NDSU. Now, yes, 1 year of production. Well, year and 1 odd game, sure. Small school bona fides, sure. Concerned about that. But Matt Ryan is going to be 36. Do have to be looking towards the future. The new general manager in Atlanta will want to get his own guy in there as well. Next up, number 5. So, hey, Bill O'Brien, great job. Good on you. So, Dolphins end up with the number 5 overall pick thanks to the Laramie Tunsil trade, but they draft a much better prospect than Tunsil. It's great. So Penny Sewell, left tackle, generational, could be the best left tackle since Tony Baselli, since Matt Khalil, since Anthony Munoz. There's just something about USC tackles. I don't know. But Penny Sewell, come on down. So Penny and Austin Jackson, who is also from USC. What is it with USC tackles? But they'll be the bookends for years in front of Tua. Woo, let's go. And also, this is what happens in the draft sometimes, that insane value just falls down because teams are usually tied in with the quarterback tax, and that's exactly what you see at the top of the draft. Next up, 6 Vikings. So speaking of quarterback tax, top 3 guys are off the board. Could trade down in this spot, but I think the Vikings need to stop effing around. I think they need to grab their future franchise quarterback, and that would be Zach Wilson coming out of BYU. Love the arm, love the anticipation, love the movement skills as well. That's a bonus. Love everything about him. I think that, there are some concerns about caliber of competition, but also same thing with Trey Lance. And Zach Wilson, I think, will rise up these draft charts. I think he will be a first-round pick. I think he will bust into the top 10, and even though it may seem a little bit high right now, I think come April it'll be like, oh yeah, Zach Wilson, 6. There you go. Next up, we got the Bengals at 7. So they already got Burrow. They already got the quarterback of the future, as well as they got Jonah Williams, left tackle, damn solid out of Alabama, a first-round pick from last year, as well as T. Higgins. No big deal. Add another weapon to the Burrow arsenal. Let's go. Jalyn Waddle, wide receiver out of Alabama. Now, I get it. Ankle injury, really, really terrible, but he'll heal up. He'll be perfectly fine. He'll still be the second wide receiver off the board. Let's get it going. Let's go. Number 8, boring. So the Cowboys need some help in the secondary. and they're extremely bad back there. It's basically Trevon Diggs, even though Diggs got worked by Terry McLaurin on Sunday, but it's whatever. Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech, opted out of the season. Still the top cornerback coming off the board. Next up, Washington. So, yeah, speaking of quarterback tax, Dwayne Haskins ain't it. Ron Rivera and company did not draft Haskins, so they're moving on. They're drafting quarterback number 5 already in this draft in the top 9 picks, taking Kyle Trask, QB out of Florida, who's rising up draft boards. He's just lighting things on fire with his tight end Kyle Pitts, who we'll get to very quickly. Number 10, you got the Chargers. Now, again, this is a hey, you get insane value just by staying put and letting people do self-serving moves in front of you. So many quarterbacks gone. How does Micah Parsons fall to 10? This is just like Isaiah Simmons last year. This is similar to Brown, the defensive tackle, as well. I mean, a lot of talented dudes just fall just because certain teams go a different direction, usually quarterback. So Micah Parsons being paired up with Kenneth Murray, their first-round pick out of Oklahoma this year. Damn, son. Next up. So Patriots at 11. They're not really used to drafting this high, and yeah, you could say that they could go quarterback in this spot, but also with the top 5 selections off the board already in the top 10, So they decided to go a different direction, getting some help for whoever their future franchise quarterback is going to be. Pick up Kyle Pitts, tight end 1 out of Florida, having an amazing season. I think that he will be a very high-end first-round pick, easily the first tight end off the board, and hopefully this will work out better than the last time that they drafted a tight end from Florida. Next up, 12, got the Broncos, the Broncos used to have the best cornerback trio in the league with Roby and what's his face? Aqib Talib. There you go. They drafted all the receivers in the world this year. I think they finally need to swing things around and pick up some cornerbacks. I mean, Vic Fangio, he can't go through life with crappy cornerbacks. So pick up Sean Wade, the Ohio State University, pairing him up with A.J. Bowie as well as Bryce Callahan. It's not bad. Next up, so you got the Panthers, who the Panthers last year famously used all of their draft picks on defense and 0 on offense. Hey, Teddy. Thanks. So why not start off the same way again? So also go cornerback. Patrick Surtain II coming out of Alabama, where they finally replaced Eli Apple. Finally get it done. So another Bama player, another Bama cornerback going high in the draft. Next up, 14. Tua's got a good offensive line in front of him. Got some decent outside the numbers receivers in Devontae Parker as well as Preston Williams. So why not get you a slot guy? Just why not? Rondale Moore coming out of Purdue. Woo! Baby. Let's go. Just a dynamic Percy Harvin adjacent playmaker. Give him to Tua. Oh, my goodness. I got a good thing cooking down in South Beach. I love what Brian Flores and Chris Greer are building down there. 15. So this is another luxury pick. Just another guy falls. So Greg Rousseau, edge rusher out of Miami, probably the best edge in this class. And then you already have Max Crosby coming out of Eastern Michigan, and Clelin Ferrell, who's a number 4 overall pick a couple years ago. So now you just pair him up with Rousseau. Let's go, getting after it. 16, Lions. So I think there's going to be a regime change in Detroit. You could say that they could go quarterback here, get their heir apparent to Matt Stafford, but they just decide to go with the BPA, best player available. It's got Dylan Moses, linebacker out of Alabama. Now, this could be in conjunction with Jared Davis, who's having a decent season, or replacement for Jared Davis, because Jared Davis has not been very good the first 3 years of his career. Next up, 17. Niners need a little bit of offensive line help in front of whoever the hell is going to be quarterback, as well as suture up that run game. Wyatt Davis, interior offensive lineman, Ohio State, massive just earth mover, as well as not a liability in the zone scheme. I would love Wyatt Davis for the Vikings, but it doesn't look like the Vikings will be able to double dip in this spot. Next up, Saints. So going wide receiver, Drew Brees, probably deceased. He is done. Is it going to be Taysom Hill? Could they go quarterback? Sure. But overall, I think they are going to move on from Michael Thomas, because I think that Sean Payton is such a egotistical maniac that he thinks that he can do it without Michael Thomas, and I think he's going to try and prove it. So Devonta Smith, second Bama wide receiver off the board. Let's go. Next up, 19 Eagles. Again, the best safety in the draft, Javon Holland. It's a pretty damn good safety draft, by the way. But they still haven't replaced Malcolm Jenkins, and they need a lot of help on the back end of that secondary. So this goes a long way to do that. 20 Colts. Another Bama player. another quarterback. Phillip Rivers, sure. Jacob Eason, ain't it. Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones, quarterback of the future in Indy. 21. Second Jaguar selection. Now, this is after the Jalen Ramsey trade, so they got the pick from the Rams. 21. You already got your quarterback of the future, Justin Fields, at 3. Now get him that security blanket. Very familiar with him in the Big Ten East. Let's go. Tight end Pat Freiermuth from Penn State. Tied for the Penn State record for number of touchdowns for a tight end with 15. Let's get it going. Next up, 22-23. So pair of teammates go. So the Browns, I think Olivier Vernon, who restructured his contract, he's going to be gone. So they need a really good edge rusher opposite of Myles Garrett. Bring in a guy from that state up north, Kwity Paye, who had a phenomenal game against the Gophers. But then again, who didn't? But yeah, coming on in, pairing up with Myles Garrett. Let's get it going. And we said teammates, so $23. I think this pick could be a lot later, by the way, because the Bucs are looking really good. But they pick up an edge rusher as well, Aiden Hutchinson. Teammates with Paye from Michigan. Now, JPP's getting a little bit long in the tooth. Shaq Barrett is on his franchise tag. Who knows if they're going to tag him again or get a long-term deal done. So they need some stank off the edge. It's more than just Antonio Brown and Gronk and Madden 16. Yeah. Next up, so you got the Bills. A little bit of offensive line help is needed. Darrell Williams at right tackle. TBD what's going to happen there. Deion Dawkins extended, the emeritus, or you could kick this guy inside as well. Sam Cosmi coming out of Texas. I like this kid a lot. I think it's a nice little pickup here by the Bills, protecting Josh Allen. 25 Cardinals. Speaking of offensive line help, so the Cardinals, a lot of fun. Could use some help up front. Kyler gets a very familiar face. Creed Humphrey coming out of the University of Oklahoma. Now, I do like Cole at center for the Cardinals. Have Creed play one of the guard spots or flip-flop. Do whatever you want to do. There you go. Next up, Jets back up on the clock. So this is one of the picks that they acquired from Seattle in the Jamal Adams trade. And now you got Trevor Lawrence, right? The number 1 overall pick. You got Trevor Lawrence, pride of Clemson. Why not go Clemson? That's right. The New York Tigers, as they pick up running back Travis Etienne, first running back off the board. Only running back in the first round. Teammates, get after it. Rebuild this team. Let's go. Next up, 27. So the Ravens, pretty much the only thing they're deficient in is in the passing game. So Lamar Jackson is developing into a very solid quarterback. He's a league MVP for a reason, but his weapons, Hollywood Brown, meh. Mark Andrews, They do need an outside the numbers wide receiver. So let's go. It's happening. Rashad Bateman, come on in. Ravens get back after again. They also drafted Ron Johnson back in the day. So they do love them some Gophers wide receivers. Eric DeCosta, Ozzie Newsome, GM Emeritus. There you go. 28 Titans. So now this is just another one of those luxury picks. So you got Marvin Wilson, who's a great interior defensive lineman coming out of Florida State. So now you got Wilson and Jeffrey Simmons just clogging up the middle, just doing horrible things to interior offensive lines. Great. Awesome. Next up, so the Bears, 29. The Bears could be in the market for a quarterback. I think they do go quarterback, and this does kind of suck, but it is what it is. Bears go Tanner Morgan, coming out of the University of Minnesota. It hurts. It sucks. 30 Chiefs. So now they've been having some interior offensive line problems, so they're starting Mike Remmers and Tom Compton, so it's less ideal there. So why not pick up the best offensive lineman still on the board? And I cut and paste wrong. There we go. Alex Leatherwood coming out of the University of Alabama. Now, he can kick inside for a year till you want to decide what you want to do with Eric Fisher as well as Mitchell Schwartz, and then eventually you can kick out to one of the tackle spots, so come on in. 2 more to go. So the Packers, who passed on drafting a wide receiver in the deepest wide receiver class in NFL history last year, even though this one could be deeper, it's possible. So the octogenarian Aaron Rodgers, they do dip into the wide receiver pool this time around. Tylan Wallace coming out of the Oklahoma State University. I like this kid. It's unfortunate that I really have to hate him with every single fiber of my body now. So there you go. Lastly, so yeah, the Steelers are projected to win the Super Bowl. Sure. Packers-Steelers Super Bowl. All right, so Steelers, they do need to air pair for Big Ben. Maybe Ben goes out on top if they win the Super Bowl in this spot. But how about replacing the big body Ben Roethlisberger with the big bodied Jamie Newman coming out of Wake Forest, Georgia, and then he opted out. But Newman, 6'4", 230, big arm, big guy, built for cold weather games. So I think that would be a nice pickup as the heir apparent for Big Ben there. And that's it. So first round, 8 quarterbacks, 6 players from Alabama. Nick Saban can recruit. That's recruiting marketing that you can't buy, as well as 6 wide receivers. I think this class is already off to chasing down the 2017 class, as well as the 2015 class and 2014 class, by the way, of really great wide receivers. So, Vikings sitting at 6, quarterback of the future. Seems a little bit rich now, but it might not be in April. So there's a long way until the draft, because you got the rest of the season, you got the Senior Bowl, you got the combines, you have the pro days, you have everything. And maybe, depending on the COVID stuff, maybe it will be some semblance of normalcy evaluating these prospects. But all right, your thoughts. Let us know. Comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.